Hello and welcome to another video from Mini Motley Sanctuary. This week all about our special boy Bertie, the grey-faced Dartmoor sheep, and his story so far at the sanctuary. This is actually a section of a special documentary style video that we made exclusively for our Patreon community. So if you'd like to join us, we would be so grateful. You can access it, the full video, for £5 a month. And also hordes and dozens of other podcast episodes and videos and visual podcasts, all from the sanctuary. You can also join and binge watch the videos and then leave us if you want to, or you can stay, support and be a part of our amazing community. Here's a little taster of Bertie's story and a little introduction to his time so far at the sanctuary. And if you want access to the full video, please do hop on over to our Patreon. We'll pop the link in the description below. All the animals find us and come to us for different reasons, be it abandonment or abuse, neglect or malnourishment, for all sorts of different reasons. And Bertie's got a very unique story because we found a plea on social media to find a forever home for this little sheep. It was from his breeder, who was breeding the rare breed species of grey-faced Dartmoor for showing for the show ring. And Bertie did not make the grade. He could not be a professional show sheep.
Yeah, because he had one little extra black mark on his knee. And that was enough to mean that he would never be able to win any prizes in the showgrounds. But as Anna was saying, the owners wanted to find a sheep knowledgeable home, because the other problem with rehoming sheep, particularly sheep that have a bit of a cute look about them, and a gentle nature, is that sometimes, for the most well-meaning reasons, they will find themselves in homes that love them but actually don't know anything about sheep, and maybe take them on thinking, oh well, you know, it can't be that difficult, stick them in a field and let them eat the grass, or become I think they're often called lawn mowers, aren't they, when they go into pet homes. That would be great, that would keep the grass down, and they let the sheep get on with living their lives, not realising that actually there's a great deal of care that has to go into keeping a sheep healthy.
And on the other hand, the perils of finding a knowledgeable sheep home means that sometimes, in some cases, the sheep may be at threat from slaughter at some point in its life, being fed up and sent to slaughter if a forever home is not found. So she was desperate to find a sanctuary or a rescue or a knowledgeable sheep home where Bertie could stay forever.
Yes. So we went to visit him while he was still really young, as you can see here from this video, so that we'd become familiar to him, and when we eventually picked him up, we wouldn't be strangers. It wouldn't be scary for him. So to just start to get to know him, and look how cute he was. Oh my goodness.
You can recognise some of the same expressions he pulls now, even as a tiny baby with his mum.
Definitely. You could see the potential for all that curly, swirly coat, fleece.
On collection day, we arrived and he was on his halter, happily taking to it like a duck to water, waiting to be collected. And we picked him up and took him back to the marsh, to our little mini motley flock of sheep. And if you do want to pop on over to Patreon to watch the full video, you'll hear the details of some of Bertie's struggles. You could think of the £5 as paying for a ticket to a talk, and that money goes to support our sanctuary. We would be so grateful if you want to join us.
Socialising was the other issue. Bringing a new sheep in, you don't know how the original flock are going to react. And then we thought they would actually be really keen to embrace Bertie, but they were actually not over keen on him initially.
They butted him off.
They did. And I think part of it's Bertie's personality, that he's very keen, he's very friendly, he's
very in your face.
He's in your face, he's up in your grill, as the saying goes. And he doesn't respect barriers, he's a bit like a puppy. and more so even then than he is now. He's actually claimed his spot in the flock and everyone's happy. But we had to spend even more time with him and with our original members initially to make sure that they knew we wanted him to be part of their flock, and to encourage them to embrace him, and to make sure that when we gave them all food, he had his share, and just kept bringing him in, giving him fuss, giving them fuss, showing them that they had to accept him, really.
Yeah, and that he wasn't a threat.
Yeah, exactly. They were still going to get their rations and their rations of attention, as well as food and treats.
And they started off in a fairly closed-in pen, so you can see lots of lovely lush grasses, lots of different types of marsh grasses to keep them all entertained. So they had lots of forage, lots to feast on, and so that they didn't fight over the food. They had lots to see, lots to do, and you can see we made some lovely sort of tasty foraging treats that we hung from branches on bits of string to keep them occupied, so that Bertie wasn't the main focus, so that it would keep their minds busy, and that they could explore and venture in the pen, and hopefully integrate quicker, which did help. But they still did ignore him, didn't they? Once they got over the butting and the squabbling and pushing him physically away, batting him back, they then ignored him and left him on his own. And he was sort of in the bushes, laying, barring, calling out to us as if to say, oh, please accept me, please say hello. But then very steadily, he started to sort of push his way forwards, Mum, didn't he?
He did, and Jim was the first to really accept him, which was very sweet. And actually, Jim is, as I think we've said before, a lot younger than you'd think. So there's not such a huge age gap with him. And that was a very sweet, you can see it here. They began to get up close, and Jim began to show interest in Bertie, which once that had happened, the others soon thought, OK, Jim thinks he's all right, then obviously he is. And I think, as Anna says, that's probably the concern. You know, we had a very tight, integrated, friendly little flock, and so they don't really want anything that's going to disrupt it. It's a bit like, you know, you have a baby, you have a child, and then you bring in a new baby. Sometimes the toddler that you're introducing the new baby to is a bit threatened by the
disgusted.
The new arrival. Oh, okay, disgusted then.
The attention isn't on them.
Exactly. That anything that threatens the status quo, if they're quite happy. So it took a little while and a lot of careful interventions from us, but they got there.
And we moved them out then once Bertie had been accepted, initially tentatively being able to graze together. We then moved them into a slightly bigger paddock with some fresh green grass and pink mint you can see Bertie feasting on, which he absolutely loves to forage. Lots of bushes, lots of shrubbery, and a wider pen, a wider paddock for them to explore, knowing that they would stay together because that was all electric fenced. So we didn't want to run the risk that if they hadn't integrated or started to integrate, that Bertie would sort of push through the fencing and go off on his own and go wandering and could potentially get lost on the wider marsh. But because Jim had taken him under his wing, we felt it was safe enough to move them out to an extended space, and Bertie absolutely loved to explore this because I don't think he'd seen such a variety of plants and grasses at this stage in his life, so this was all new to him, and he remained very bonded to us, didn't he?
And still is to this day. Bertie actually will come to call. If I call his name, he'll come bounding over exuberantly and kicking his legs in the air, really really happy again, like a bit like a puppy, young dog, really enthusiastic. So it's really sweet. He loves cuddles. He loves being any kind of affection. It's the sweetest little sheep.
And we hope that through Patreon and through our growth of Mini Motley Sanctuary, if we can gain more support, if we can gain more lovely, wonderful patrons, that one day we may be able to open for workshops and creative sessions. And Bertie would make an ideal therapy sheep, wouldn't he, Mum? Because he's got the temperament. He loves humans. He behaves like a dog. He's very tame. He's a natural on the halter. He loves a fuss, and he's very gentle, and he listens and he knows words. He's very sharp and bright, and actually he could go a long way to sort of change the image of how sheep are seen.
Definitely. I think he'd be a wonderful sheep to take into schools for children to learn that aspect of animals that are seen as farm animals or, you know, commercial animals. I've just seen a picture of him after he was shorn. It's just come up, and it just looks totally different.
He looks like an alien sheep when he's shorn. But we had to, for his welfare, obviously the grey-faced Dartmoor have to be sheared at a certain time of year, so we had to get off his first initial coat ready for the autumn months. So we removed the curls, and then Mum sifted through them all to collect them for our online gift shop.
Yeah, that's just shocked me again, because he's so curly at the moment with really, really long fleece again, isn't he, ready for the winter? And I've forgotten how different he looks without his curls. But yeah, I gather them all up, and then, as some of you will know, I make little miniature Bertie grey-faced Dartmoor sheep for the shop, which obviously helps us to raise money for the sanctuary. So it's all a bit full circle, and there's Bertie inspecting what's come off of his back. Rather confused.
And you picking through the best curls to keep, and some of the curls you obviously got rid of, didn't you, that didn't meet the mark, didn't make the mark for the shop.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Just pick the best quality, but there's a feast to choose from Bertie.
And we had to get rid of his fleece at that point because it was a very, very warm, we had a heat wave autumn when he arrived. So whereas at the moment he can keep his long fleece because we've got storms and rain and cold weather, at that point in time it was a heat wave, so we had to remove that fleece quite urgently. And of course he was having his regular fly treatments to make sure the lice didn't return and to keep him protected from the flies. And he felt a new sense of freedom, didn't he, bouncing around without his fleece. It was his first ever shearing, which is always entertaining to watch because they're not quite sure where their coat has gone, and he feels lighter and bouncier, and he began playing, didn't he, and bounding around with us.
Yeah, he felt light and free. There he is.
He jumps and skips.
Yeah.
Woohoo! In October 2023, we were hit by a great flood and had to evacuate the animals to dry land. And that's when Bertie faced more challenges. Please join us on Patreon to watch the rest of this video, the full documentary style vlog, and to hear the rest of Bertie's story and journey. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video with those who you think might enjoy it, and please join our amazing Patreon community because we couldn't do this without them. And thank you if you're already one of our incredible patrons. See you next week in another video.